Hi everyone, Antoine here. In this video, we'll be focusing on connecting your external platform to Salesforce so that you can push and pull data in a secure way. We'll define Salesforce Connected Apps. We'll go through security best practices. We'll implement a JWT Bearer Flow where I'll show you a helpful tool that I made to make easy to follow along. And we'll talk about packaging it. So let's get into it. What is a connected app? Imagine a Salesforce org is a secure gated building. Your data is inside and only people with the key can get in. Now imagine your external app, like a mobile app, a website, or a BI tool, is a visitor standing outside the gate. A Salesforce connected app is like an official visitor pass for that external app. It tells the secure building, so Salesforce, everything it needs to know about the visitor, in this case, your app. Who you are, the app's name and a unique ID, what you're allowed to do. This is called scope. It specifies exactly what data you're allowed to see. Read and contact information, but don't delete it, for example. How you'll prove your identity. So those are the security rules, the OAuth settings for how your app will log in and get a temporary access token. So in a nutshell, a connected app is a configuration in Salesforce that gives your external application a secure, controlled way to access your Salesforce data. It's the handshake that lets your other software and services talk to Salesforce without having to share a user's password. So let's build our connected app together. We have plenty of different ways of authentication flows possible, but for our example, I picked a JWT Bearer Flow with server-to-server authentication as I think it's a good fit for a partner app. And yes, I'm Team JWT. Let me know if you're Team JWT or Team JWT in the comments below. What you'll need is a Salesforce org with admin privileges and a computer that can execute my helper app locally. That's it. First, you'll need your certificate, which is a public-private key pair. I have mine ready to go, but if you need to generate yours, I've put the instructions in the GitHub repo, which you can find in the description below. Don't forget to give the repo a good old star, and since we're at it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. All right, time to jump in our Salesforce org. So we're on setup and we're gonna be heading to searching for the external client apps because it's in their settings that will have a toggle to turn connected apps on or off and create a new one. So now let's try to think about a very cool name for our connected apps, such as secure and very cool API access. If this isn't cool, I don't know what is. I'll put my email in and enable OAuth settings, put in a callback URL. And now it's time for us to give our certificate to Salesforce. So you remember we created those certificates and we're gonna send the key that belongs on Salesforce and that will be able to double check that the key that we're sending with our API calls is valid. And now it's time to select the scope. So the scope is what your connected app will enable the person using it or the service using it to restrict with the first layer of restriction of what this user or app can or can't do on your platform. There are a lot of those. How tempting would it be to just click on full access and just call it a day? Well, breaking news, don't do that. This is where it's going to be really important for you to fine-tune what exactly you want to be doing with this connected app and use the concept of the least privilege. This is a fundamental security concept that dictates a user or application should only be granted the minimum permissions necessary to perform its function. Full access is the opposite of this. It gives the external app the power to do everything, including read, create, edit, and delete all data, including confidential or sensitive records, access and modify metadata, which would corrupt the org structure, bypass security settings and rules. let's drill into the risk of full access. Using a broad scope like full access creates significant security vulnerabilities. Data breach. If the external app is compromised, a hacker could gain complete control of your Salesforce data. Accidental data corruption. A bug in the external app could accidentally delete or corrupt critical records, as the app has no built-in restriction to prevent it. Bypassing user permission. In this case, the app access is not limited by the individual user's profile or permission set that you've already spent so much time building into the platform. So what are the best practices? Well, granular scopes. Instead of full access, developers should request granular scopes that match the app's specific functionality. For example, if an app needs to read account data or create new opportunities, the correct scopes would be read account and write opportunities, not full access. By using a more restrictive scope, you protect your Salesforce org from unauthorized access, accidental damage, and security threats. So in our case, no full access. I'm gonna pick API and refresh. Where's refresh? Refresh token. Awesome. And that's it. So I've given it my digital signature, I've given it my scopes. Let's create our app. It should take about 10 minutes and your connected app should be up and running. But there's one thing that I want to modify here. I could let all my users self-authenticate to my app. But in my case, I want to cherry pick who has access to this particular connected app as an additional layer of security. So instead of all user may self-authorize, I'm gonna pick only admin approved users that will be able to use this particular connected app. So let's save it and try our brand new super cool connected app. In order to test our app, we're gonna need this key that is now on the Salesforce side. So let's head to the app manager, where we'll find a long list of existing connected apps and other applications. And I'm gonna be searching for my super cool app. Is this the name I gave it? Already forgot. So where's my secure and very cool app? Can't miss this one. All right, so let's view this connected app. And if everything went well, I should be able to see my details. So when we do that, we receive a verification code, and with it, ta-da, we can get our consumer key and our consumer secret. So this is what we'll want to use in the test app that I'll now be using. Once your connected app is created and ready to be tested, you may want to head to Postman, where we document every single API on the Salesforce platform and on Salesforce products that are part of the portfolio. And you'll find an interactive way to interact with every single API endpoint. So you'll find things for Salesforce, CRM, for Data Cloud, for Tableau, name it. Now, I wanted to make it even more straightforward for this particular video. So I created a little helper app that will focus on this JWT Bearer token exchange. All right, here we are. That's the app. So the very first step will be to generate a JWT token using the secrets that I got from Salesforce. So the first one that I want to put in is my algorithm, the algorithm that I'm going to be using. That's the one that we should be using. The login screen that I'll be heading to, I'll be using the main one. The issuer key, so that's the key that we just copied from having created our connected app. The expiration at which our token won't be useful anymore. The username that will be impersonated with this test. And finally, our private key. So this is the private key that you generated, that only you know and will be using to sign every request that will go towards Salesforce. We're ready. Now, time to generate this token. And ta-da, it worked. So I don't know if you can read JWT, but I can't. So I've put a little link to a very helpful site that allow to decipher a token, at least as much as it can be deciphered without a public key, and try to troubleshoot if the generation of the token is going the way you expect or if it needs some debugging. So in our case, our header and our payload looks okay. Second step, the authentication, because we now have the JWT token, but we haven't used it with Salesforce. And well, we said that this connected app should only be used by cherry-picked user, and turns out that the particular user that we're sending is not approved yet. So let's change that. Back in Salesforce. So what we want now is to create a permission set. So let's search for a permission and create a new one. All right, let's find a fantastic name for our permission set, such as super cool permission set for my super cool connected app. Again, I'm pretty good at naming conventions. Awesome. So now time to add our permission set to our user. All right, it took me a while to find myself, but here I am. Look at that. The advantage of having a crazy super long name is that it's easy to find. But also don't use the same naming conventions. I'm heading back to the app manager to find my connected app. And we're gonna decide to add our permission set. So it should be at S. Here it is. Awesome. We're ready to go. Let's give it a shot. All right, we're back to our authentication using the same JWT, and woohoo, we're in. So we were able to make a successful handshake with Salesforce using all the credentials and the connected apps that we created. Our user is part of the privileges that we said were the ones we needed to access this connected app. And as a response, we got our access token that only allows us to do what we said the connected app could do within the scope. And in order to test that, we're gonna send a little query. And just as I expected, I'm able to get some information through API based on my user profile and based on the scopes that I gave to this connected app. Isn't that awesome? But what if the standard permission models aren't enough? What if you have a complex business rule like only active employees in the marketing department can authorize this app? For that, you can use a custom connected app handler. It's an Apex class. This class allows a developer to run custom logic during the OAuth 2.0 authorization flow, adding an additional layer of control and security beyond the standard connected app settings. It's code, so you can build whatever you see fit to secure your app, even sending a notification to an administrator when a new user authorizes the app. Imagine a connected app is used to integrate with a custom internal tool. The company's policy states that only active employees who have a specific permission set should be able to authorize the app. A developer would write a custom handler to enforce this rule. This handler would be specified in the connected app settings under Manage Connected Apps and Custom Connected App Handler. It gives the administrator a powerful way to implement dynamic, code-based security rules during the OAuth flow. And this connected app you just built, it can be packaged. So here you have two options: packaging your connected app into an existing package, or packaging your connected app into a new package. Here's the difference. Well, besides having multiple packages. Packaging your connected app into an existing package will not require an immediate security review. As per Salesforce policies, however, Any changes to packages can trigger security recalls in a given time period. Now, if you decide to package your connected app into a new package, you will be required to have an immediate security review as per usual security review policies. And before I wrap it up, this is your gentle reminder to like this video and subscribe for more agentic content filled with confettis. So let's recap our secure building tour. We learned that a connected app is a secure key card you issue to an external application, giving it verified, limited access to your Salesforce building. We saw why you should never hand out a master key by using full access and instead provide access only to the necessary rooms with granular scopes. For situations requiring an extra layer of security, a custom handler acts as a security guard at the front desk, running custom checks before letting a user in. Finally, we covered how packaging your app is like submitting your building plans for reviews. Adding a new keycard system to an existing approved building usually doesn't require a new inspection, but constructing a whole new wing with its own access points will always require a full security review. And I'm putting another security video on my roadmap where I'll introduce external client apps. Think of them as the next generation of smart access. More secure, more efficient, and the new standard for keeping your Salesforce building safe. On that note, see you in the next video.